Hello y'all, and welcome back. In the last video, we looked at Plato's analysis of weakness of will, of acrasia, what goes on, and we saw that Plato thinks that in cases where you know something is wrong but do it anyway, your reason knows it's wrong, but your passion overpowers your reason and makes you act. Now, this is a forceful view. Not only is Plato one of the smartest philosophers of all time, but we should not lightly dismiss the views of what he calls the many, most people. After all of us have lived life as human beings. We've experienced this phenomenon, and if we think that's what's going on, we should take our own view very seriously. However, this is not a perfect view. There are some concerns you might raise against it, and if you're inclined to disagree with it, you might want to consider the alternate view in the history of philosophy. And the primary name associated with this view is that of Plato's mentor, Socrates. And I do believe that even though we have pretty minimal direct record of what Socrates taught, that this is a very accurate reconstruction of what he actually, I think, says. Not just what he would have said, but what he thinks goes on in cases of weakness of will. And here, Socrates is joined, not coincidentally, by the followers or successors of Plato and Socrates, the Stoics that we looked at in the previous module. So here's the analysis. Remember that for Socrates and the Stoics, there are no soul parts. You just are your reason, right? That's all you are. You are what you know. You are a collection of beliefs. And we see abundant evidence that Socrates has this analysis of the human person. For Socrates, there is no difference, remember, between head and heart. If you really truly understand why it's good to do the right thing or what a good person is, you are a good person. If you're lacking in being a good person, if you're lacking in virtue, that's because you at some level lack wisdom. You at some level lack this deep knowledge of what it is to be a good person, right? If you know better, you automatically do better. And for the Stoics, hyper-rationalist, again, you just are your beliefs. So how do you improve yourself? Stop believing false things. Train yourself to only believe what is true. You see how different this is from Plato's analysis, where it's possible to believe all the right stuff and still fall because you're weak. So on this view, what happens in cases of acrasia? Well, the first step is you know it's wrong. Now, of course, you could say your reason knows it's wrong. That wouldn't be false. But since you just are your reason, that would be redundant. You know it's wrong. Second, temptation hits. Everything's going fine. Bam, you enter the moment of temptation, and temptation hits. Now, on Plato's view that we looked at last video, temptation is going to inflame your passion in some way. But that cannot happen here for the simple reason that passion doesn't exist. There is no spirit. There is no appetite. It's all just what you believe. So temptation, which is external circumstances, including people, is going to go to work on the only thing that it could possibly go to work on, which is what you believe. And it pressures you on what you believe. So the second step, right? First step, reason knows it's wrong. Second, under pressure from temptation, you change your mind. You change your mind. That's the only thing that could change. You just are your mind. Now, this change of mind could look a lot of different ways. So I'm just going to run some hypotheticals here, okay, of ways that you might change your mind to justify doing what you know to be wrong or knew to be wrong previously. So you might say, for instance, when I said I wasn't going to drink tonight, that was 7 a.m. guy. That was a different person. He makes all these rules. He says, oh, we're going to get up and stretch and meditate and do yoga, blah, blah, blah. He thinks he knows what's best for everyone. But I'm a different person. I'm 11:20 p.m. guy. I've had a hard day. I'm stressed, right? Life is real in the weeds here. And I deserve a drink or two, right? I'm a different person. Different person made those rules. He doesn't understand what it's like to be me. Doesn't apply, right? Or you could say, look, let's just run an economic cost-benefit analysis here. If I give in to this temptation, I will, it's true, feel terrible tomorrow. I'll feel bad. I'll feel shame and pain of some kind. And it'll be right here. That's a lot of pain. But holding out against the temptation is also quite painful, right? It's not easy to hold out against the temptation. As a matter of fact, holding out against the temptation, I'm currently enduring pain that's up here, which, as anyone can see, is substantially higher than the pain I'd be experiencing, right, if I gave in to this temptation. So on a simple cost-benefit analysis, just maximizing benefit, we'll look at utilitarianism a little bit down the road here, you see that it actually makes sense for me to give in to this temptation. It is overall the best decision. Or you might say, hypothetically, when I said I'd never text her again, I didn't mean I wouldn't ever physically text her. That's not what I meant when I said that, right? What I meant was I wouldn't talk to her again. I think that's even probably what I said. I wouldn't talk, meaning I wouldn't enter the talking stage of the relationship, sending texts back and forth, okay? I didn't mean I wouldn't physically text her. That's perfectly fine. Just send a text, okay? Besides, she texted me. She said, you crossed my mind. And if I don't respond to that, I'm just leaving her on red. And what kind of person, what kind of guy just ignores someone like they're not a human being, right? Who does that? That's a terrible guy, an inconsiderate, a jerk, if I might use some strong language. Am I a jerk? Absolutely not. It's only common courtesy to respond. Also, think about this. She said, you crossed my mind. Well, she crossed my mind too. And if I don't tell her that, I'm not telling her the truth. What is it when you don't tell the truth? It's a lie. And I'm not a liar. I've never been a liar, and I'm not about to start now. I need to do this. This is just all hypothetical, right? You might. I'm not saying this happened to me at all this weekend, but it might, okay? What you're doing here is you're coming up with a loophole or a justification. Now, it's not saying that you believe that the thing that was previously forbidden is now morally right. You're just believing, shout out Whitney Houston, it's not right, but it's okay. It's okay. So the barrier, as it were, that's sitting there in front of you doing it is lifted. Not saying you're obligated to go through, but you may now drive through. Okay? So that's the third step. You believe it's okay. Fourth step, you do it, whatever it is. Fifth step, you've done it. It's out of your system. And what happens? You change your mind back. You change your mind back. Back to what? Back to one, right? Where you believe it's wrong. You say, oh, God, I knew it was wrong. I knew it was wrong. The whole time. I knew it was wrong the whole time. I'm so weak. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You couldn't have. On this view, do you see? On this view, you cannot ever act against your own best judgment. It is impossible. You have never in your life, if Socrates and the Stoics are correct, you have never in your life acted against your own best judgment. You are your best judgment. So the only reason that you ever do anything, if this view is right, is because for however brief a period, on however lame or flimsy a justification, you believe in the moment that that thing is best. Now, this view is a little more complex than the previous view, but I believe it holds its own as a serious contender to the view of Plato and the many. So two views. Plato's view, on Plato's view, reason knows it's wrong, passion is stronger, you do it. Socrates and the Stoics, you come up with a justification, a loophole, you change your mind and do it, and then change your mind back. Which of these two views is correct? We'll discuss it a little bit in the discussion and also in the next video. Thanks.